Hi, everyone. Let's do some standing poses that may or may not be coming right after you've done the sun salutes. So we'll start with our legs wide, ankles more or less underneath your wrists. Let's bring our hands to the hips for an inhale, squeeze your elbows toward each other, and exhale, just come halfway down. We'll stay here for the inhale, we're just trying to get a flat back, and we'll stay there for the exhale. Legs are strong, maybe reach your arms out to the sides, inhale. Stay here for your exhale. Inhale, maybe reach your arms out overhead. Exhale there. One more breath. Engage your quadriceps. Tuck your lowest ribs in a bit so you're not in a big back bend. Now let's return our hands to our hips. And we're just going to rise up again. So our hips are still facing the long edge of the mat. Let's turn the right foot to face front so that we have a heel to arch alignment. If we took a Sharpie marker and we drew it back, it would go from heel to arch. Now let's bend into that right leg. Exhale. Straighten for an inhale. We bend for an exhale. We make sure we can still see that big toe there. And we straighten for an inhale. So as you're bending the knee, you're pushing it a little bit to the right so that your view of your front big toe is still there. And we'll re-straighten. And let's meet with it bent. We're going to keep that leg bent for now. This is warrior 2. And we'll reach the arms out. Gaze over that front middle finger. We're working both feet, both legs, almost as if the feet want to touch each other underneath your hips. They're squeezing in. We'll just take one more breath. And let's re-straighten that right leg. We're just going to turn the right foot in. Let's bring hands to hips and turn the left foot out. Make sure you have that alignment, heel to arch. And bend into that left leg, keeping the hips facing the long edge of the mat. And straighten that leg. And re-bend, make sure you can see the big toe. And re-straighten. And just notice that your shoulders are traveling with you. They're just staying over your hips. Your hips are moving depending on how your front leg is bent. We're going to meet with this front leg bent, with the knee now pressing to the left. And we'll reach the arms out. Gaze over the left middle finger. Both legs working. Belly draws in and up. Pubic bone rises up. Tailbone lowers down a bit. So that you're not in the back bend, you're very neutral. Core is engaged. And let's re-straighten that left leg. We'll just turn to face that long edge again, hands to the hips. And let's bring that right heel in again. Arms out to that T again, but with both legs straight, we're going to reach as far out as we can from the inhale. And lower that right hand down to the shin, the ankle, maybe the big toe, but probably if you're taking this video, the big toe is a little bit far away to have the leg straight. So hand up a little higher until maybe a month from now, after you've taken this video a few times, then it starts to slide down. Not a lot of weight on that right hand. It's just a light hand. You're using your leg strength here. On the next inhale, we'll rise up. Pivot the feet, so the right foot will now face the long edge, the left foot will face the back edge. We have that same alignment from our warrior 2. The hips are still facing side. We reach out as far as we can. And then we lower that hand down. The gaze would be up to that right thumb, the top arm's thumb. Decide where you want your left hand to be without your ego getting involved. Better to have the hand very high or on a block, supported, than to go too low and either bend the front leg or lean forward. We don't want to be leaning forward. We want to keep everything in one line. On the next inhale, let's rise up. We're going to turn the left toes in, hands to hips, right toes out, bend into that leg like warrior 2 again. And let's bring the left arm behind the back, and we're just going to grab onto this right forearm. And we'll walk it down, the forearm to the wrist, and then we'll walk it down to the thigh, maybe. It might stay on the forearm, it might just be in space. When you can, lean forward a little bit and gently rest your right elbow on your thigh. And draw your chin toward your left shoulder, your top shoulder, and look up. We'll just take 2 breaths here. We're going to gently press our waist into our forearm so that we feel a little bit of a leaning back feeling, but it's not into a back bend. It's everything moving back kind of as one unit. Now let's lift the left arm up to the ceiling. Use an inhale to rise up, straighten the leg, and just pivot around, bend into the left leg. We'll put our left hand on our hip. We'll reach the right arm around. So if you roll that right shoulder forward, you'll have an easier time getting your grip onto your elbow. And then you just kind of walk it down until it will walk no more. And it's going to tell you. There can be no ego in shoulder activities. Left elbow to thigh. And we start to bring the chin up, the gaze up, the waistline back into the forearm. That right leg is very straight. The left hip is moving under you. One more breath here, and then out through the nose. And we'll unravel ourselves, and we'll rise up. We'll pivot again. I'm going to just scoot this way for the sake of the camera. We're going to turn the right foot out to face the short edge of the mat. Lean forward and launch the back leg up off the ground. So you'll just have your right fingertips on the floor. Put it by so you couldn't see my fingertips, but either fingertips on the floor or on a block or a series of books if you don't have a block. And the gaze will be up toward your left thumb if that feels appropriate. The chin would be by that left shoulder, like in your previous place. And let's look down, bend the standing leg, bend that right leg, and take a big step back so that you can just rise up and over, and we'll try the other side. So we'll bend that left leg, place the fingertips down, push with the right foot so that we get the right leg off the ground. That left leg can stay bent, or you can put your left hand on the block or the book, and maybe not the gaze goes up to the right hand. We want to straighten that top leg and kick that right heel back. One more breath. This will definitely get easier with time. And let's take a step back again. And this time we're just going to pivot around to face front. And we'll bring our hands to our hips with our back heel off the ground. This is just a high lunge. All 10 toes face front. Hands to hips, we'll squeeze the elbows in toward one another so we feel the chest widening, the collarbones widening. And let's try to straighten the right leg for an inhale. And bend it again for an exhale. This takes an insane amount of strength. Not just to push down into the foot to get the leg straight, but also to balance. Bend the knee for the exhale. One more time. So we're squeezing the thighs together in order to get this balance. And then we bend the knee. Good. And let's just pivot it around so that we can face the back of the mat. Lift the right heel so all 10 toes face the back of the mat. The hips square to the back. And we straighten that left leg. Inhale. Bend, exhale. 2 more times. Pubic bone lifts up toward belly button. Exhale. Now we're trying to get heavy through the tailbone. And we rebend, exhale. Good. Let's re-straighten a bit so that we can pivot around. And let's aim for our warrior 1. So now we have a heel to heel alignment. Back foot about 45-degree angle. Front foot is facing straight front. We'll bend into the knee. And that's going to, as we bend this front leg more, we're going to have to use this back leg more. Pushing to bring this left hip forward. Feel free to put your hands on your hips and literally pull your right hip back and literally push your left hip forward so that you're square. When you're ready, take hold of opposite elbows and start to pull the elbows back. And then you'll feel that your hips are square, your collarbones are square, and your elbows/forearms are square to the top edge. One more breath here. Warrior 1 is so hard. And let's straighten that leg. Let's bring our hands to hips again so we can pivot around and just try our warrior 1 on the other side. Check in with the feet, heel to heel alignment, back foot 45-degree angle. As you bend into the leg, right hip forward, left hip back. So the poses are built from the bottom up. Feet are going to be the most important thing here. Then legs, pelvis, spine. Maybe you take the arms into something like this. There's a lot of different things you could be doing with the arms here. I'm just choosing this one because I like it. Helps open the shoulders a bit. We'll take one more breath. Think a little bit more about the low belly drawing in and up. And let's go against the hips, straighten that leg, and just pivot around so you face front again. We're going to rebend that right leg and launch the left leg into the air. You're going to back up because Dakota has really decided to just monopolize the screen. Why not? Left leg will come up for an inhale, standing split style. And we'll just exhale to curl into a little ball, bend both knees. Inhale, straighten both legs like your left toes are going to touch the ceiling. Exhale, curl into a little ball. Aim your head to your knees. 2 more times. And just feel how your weight might shift a little bit in the foot. And the more you push down into your right foot, the easier it is to get your left leg up. Okay, and we'll bend both legs. So we're going to rise up just a bit so that we can step back to a lunge. I'm going to pivot on this mat again so I can be on my mat. And then we'll just walk around hand over hand till we're on the other side. Then we'll lift the right leg up, standing split side 2. We'll curl into a little ball, knees touch each other, head drops toward the knees. Inhale, extend it all the way. Exhale, curl it in. Inhale, extend it away. One more time. Inhale. And we'll bend that left leg enough so that we can gently step that right foot back. And let's go hand over hand again. This time we're going to pause when we're in the center, facing the long edge. Feet are parallel, so all the toes face the long edge. Hands will come under the shoulders. Inhale. And stay there for the exhale. Legs straight, inhale. And either stay here or slide your hands back a little bit, exhale. Stay there for the inhale. Your wrists may or may not be lining up with your heels. And then we exhale, the head drops toward the ground. This is Prasarita Padottanasana A. It's really a great one for engaging the quads, spreading the toes, practicing how to distribute your weight on your feet. So we're not just hanging out on the heels, we're also using the balls of the feet, the edges of the feet, the toes are on the ground. And the next inhale, let's straighten our arms. We'll just release the hands, walk them over to the top of the mat, or toward the right foot, I'll say. And we'll put that left knee on the ground. This is a low lunge. We'll untuck the left toes. And let's just look at the left foot for a second, the back foot. And just make sure that the foot is behind your knee. So the distance from edge of mat to knee is the same distance as edge of mat to foot. The foot is not doing something crazy back there. It's just straight back. Hands to the thigh. When we push the knee forward, the chest moves away from the thigh. And we're anchoring with that back foot, the left foot, so that there is no swiveling around, so that we feel very stable. And now we're getting a great stretch through this hip flexor quad region. Feel free to stay like this. The support of hands on thighs is great. Or roll your shoulders back. Interlace your fingers behind the back and try to straighten your arms. Try to get your thumbs up off of your leg. Lift the chest, lift the chin. Man, that is good. 2 more breaths. Okay, so to get out of there, we're just going to undo the hands. Fingertips down, curl the back toes, lift the back knee, and just walk your hands around until your hands are framing your left foot, your right knee is on the floor. Untuck your right toes. Walk your hands up to your left thigh and start to lift your chest up and away from that thigh. Check in with your right foot, make any adjustments that you need, And once you have your foot where you want it back there, press the toenails down into the floor so that the foot doesn't move. We're bending that front leg basically as much as we can stand it in this right thigh. Then when you're ready, interlace fingers behind the back. Might have to roll your shoulders a time or two. And we dig that left heel into the floor so that we can control our balance here. Our left knee digging into the floor is also helping us bend our left knee deeper. 2 more breaths. Good. Slowly get out of there. Fingertips come down, lift the back knee. And we're just going to hand over hand until we're facing the long edge again. For Prasarita Padottanasana D. I'm just scooting this way because Dakota monopolizing my space. We're going to reach for our big toes with the first 2 fingers and thumbs. Inhale. And exhale to fold, bringing the head toward the floor. Reaching for the big toes might not be possible. You might want to hold on to your calf muscles instead, or your ankles. Bringing the head to the floor might not be possible. You might want to put a block or a series of books underneath your head. On the next inhale, we'll come halfway up so the torso rises away from the ground. Exhale, hands to hips, and then inhale the rest of the way up. Let's turn the heels in, toes out. Now, this is not an Ashtanga thing, but it is nice. Some of the things we've done today have not been Ashtanga things. Hands will come to the thighs. We're going to lean forward, so it's pretty lazy. Arms are going to stay straight, and you're just going to use the sort of leaning forward of your shoulders to push your knees back. You can move it a little bit side to side if you want. If this feels easy, you can put your elbows on your inner knees and hold on to your ankles. Similar idea, just a bit further. Okay. And then slowly walk your hands up. Straighten your legs. Walk your feet in. Shake it out. Let's go ankle to thigh. Hands to chest in prayer. We call this standing pigeon. Doesn't matter what direction you're facing, because you only have that one little foot on the ground. Everything else will move around that. And next inhale, we'll rise up, and we'll just change sides. Left ankle to lower thigh, cross with some intention on this ankle. The foot is quite flexed. It's not a floppy foot. It's not like a sliding around leg. It's a very placed ankle. Lean forward so your chest moves forward to counterbalance your butt. 2 more breaths. Let's start to rise out of there. Just release, shake it out as you need. If you have time for another video, do another video. But if you do that every 4 days or so, you'll notice a lot more strength comes to you, and then you can handle a lot more also. There are 1,000 variations to everything we did. So you can play around, invent new things, and send me any questions.